Welcome welcome all to the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe poking a little bit of fun in Toyotas, and of course hearing about how awesome TRD Pro Tacoma grills are, then this is the podcast for you. I'm your host today, Tyler, and sitting here on the side of me in our newly kind of positioned studio is the one and only Mr. Jimmy Jett wearing a goofy shirt. And Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
Life's good.
Life is good. Life is fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
Actually, let's just talk about what we're doing here. So we are changing a little bit of the format here, and we're going to try and do... we tried to do a couple of videos a few episodes back here, and they didn't turn out that great. So we've changed up the format a little bit, added some extra cameras. We got some more equipment, pulled out the old GoPros. So we now have 3 cameras running. There's one over here on Jimmy at all times. There's one up in the middle that will be watching both of us here. And there's one over here that gets to watch me pick my nose at random times while Jimmy's talking that you guys don't get to see or hear about during the podcast. So, it should be a lot of fun. We're hopefully... going to get a little bit more engagement. Welcome back, ladies, gents, kiddos, and dogs, boys, girls, and people who identify as neither. So,
or all.
Everybody out there. So welcome back to today's Campfire Discussions. Today, we have a fun talk that definitely you guys can talk about while you're sitting around the campfire with your friends, having some drinks, having a good time. And what is that going to be, Jimmy?
What we're talking about today?
Yeah, or what kind of drinks you like to take around a campfire? I don't know.
Oh, I was like, where are you going with this one?
Ideally, what we're going to talk about today, but I'm down for either discussion.
Today, we're going to be discussing favorite trails, our favorite trails, where we like to go, and possibly some future trails that we would love to try and hit one day.
Mm-hmm. So the trail day, the trail episode.
Yeah.
What trails are out there? What have we done? What do we like to do? What are trails that we don't like to do?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I have any of those actually.
I think it depends on what vehicle I have for that situation.
That's true. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it. So I have a list here of 3 trails that I love. I will try and drop whatever I'm doing anytime.
Really?
To try and go on these trails.
Okay.
So my top favorite trail ever is Barrett Lake.
Really?
Which is really disappointing. Yeah, it is.
Wow. Okay.
So
why is that?
It's a great one-day trail. It's a great overnight trail. You can take 3 days and get to the lake and go hiking. There's tons of hiking, some really cool things to see around the lake when you're out there, and it's a really cool location to go to, or it's just a really fun day trip, nice and easy going.
We've done it in a day trip before.
And or if something happens, you can hike in. If you wanted to do it as a backpacking hiking trip, it's only, I think, 5 miles long from the gate to the lake, 5.5, something like that. So you can do it as a weekend backpacking trip. It's a really universal trail in terms of how you want to run the trail.
Right.
It's still difficult, though.
Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper is very difficult.
Yeah.
It'll throw you off camber and throw you into a tree. I've seen people break their suspension, their 4-link arms on that thing. Yeah. I've seen people get stuck and break their steering off.
And Gatekeeper is almost literally at the gate.
It's literally, it's you can see it from the gate. It's
And so it's funny to have people go 20 yards into the trail and then they're broken.
They're done for the day, done for their trip.
I've had that happen on the Rubicon, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Not to me.
So it's really cool. There's 3 difficult sections of the trail. First one is Gatekeeper. The second one is what I call the S-turn.
Yeah. I've met a few who are the Highlanders. I've met a few Highlanders recently, and I've asked them, what is the name of that obstacle?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I don't know.
What?
So I think we are going to name this obstacle.
We're naming it. It's official. It's the S-curve.
The S-turn?
The S-turn. So the S-turn is really cool. It's just a nice, gnarly rock garden build-up to the super tight S-turn. You can either take the S-turn and you end up doing like a 5-way U-turn in the middle of it. Or if you're like me, you just kind of go up on the rock that creates the S-turn in the middle, and you put your bumper up on it and then just boof yourself around it and use your slider to just kind of grind around that rock there.
Right.
And then you're positioned to just fine to go out of it. Jimmy, though, having a 126-inch wheelbase,
it
can't
doesn't
make
work.
the turn. It doesn't work very well.
I'm at minimum a 3-point turn there.
Yeah. If you have a longer wheelbase, so kind of in my opinion, anything longer than like 110 inches is going to have to do a 3 to 10-point turn on that turn there.
Yeah.
There's another line to the right of that. If you're heading up the trail to Barrett Lake from the gate, there's another line to the right that has a really cool kind of big rock climbing ledge aspect to it. So longer wheelbases can do a lot better there. And then if you're Verdi, our buddy, Mr. Jason from Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, I told him to go to the right, to try the line to the right. And he goes, I don't really see a line there, but okay. What he ended up doing was he went up.
Did he climb that huge rock?
He climbed the huge rock that creates the S-turn. So I was like, well, that's not exactly what I was thinking, but hey, it's improv. I just kind of let him go and go with it. And he climbed it. He didn't dig up there was nothing to harm in the trail there. It's just two massive rocks.
Right.
And so he just climbed it. And
he must have done that in the buggy.
No, he did it in a CJ.
Really?
It was really impressive to watch his CJ flex out that much. And it's on leaf springs.
Yeah.
So in order to get his CJ to flex that much, the whole frame twists.
Yeah.
When he flexes that much. It was really cool to watch and see.
Why would he need to worry about that, though? I mean, it's a CJ5, and I think it's stretched.
Yep, it is stretched.
But it's still very small compared to Bobcat. He probably doesn't even have to do a 3-point turn around that S-turn. He could just be like...
He did it just because he can. That's what Jason does. Yeah. No, but he went up it, and while he was going up that, we found a new hand signal for lockers. Because he was going up, and his lockers were not locked. And I was like, but he wasn't listening to me because his engine is too loud. He has that big old V8 in there.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to tell him, hey, your lockers aren't locked. I couldn't think of how do you visually hand signal tell somebody their lockers are not locked.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going like this. And if you're watching this video on the cameras, I was going like this. And I was like, wait a minute. That's not what it means to show that lockers are locked. And so I was like, well, no, what if I did? I was like, that's not what it means. I was like, this is obviously not how to show lockers. It goes for something else. This hand signal here.
Yeah, that's a bad one. I would explain it on camera or on the mics, but I don't think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch a YouTube video on this. And so we were like, okay. So I immediately I was like, no, it doesn't work. And I was like, wait a minute, let's try this. I was like, no, that's also not a good one to use. Hand signal to use. So finally, I started doing this. I was like, lockers. And he looked at me and he goes, oh. Once I started doing that, but after he ran, he goes, so what the hell does this mean? I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Don't worry about it.
So Tyler was holding his hands up, 2 fists, and twisting them with his thumbs touching each other, twisting them back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's what his signal is now for lockers.
That's what our signal... Well, actually, whenever I'm wheeling with Jason, our signal for lockers is the first one I used, and he gets it immediately. But and now every once in a while, we'll goof around with each other, and like we'll just be sitting in camp and look at each other and be like, oh yeah? Are your lockers on? So we give each other a hard time about that. But so Barrett Lake, this has a lot of good memories. There's 3 big obstacles there, one just before the lake, and otherwise in between the 3 obstacles, it's nice, easy riding. You get some really good scenery. You get to go through a meadow area that they completely redone and laid down essentially a golden road through the meadow kind of thing, because of all the runoff trail issues we had for the litigations up in Sierras.
Right.
And
that's the only place you can go like 10 miles an hour faster.
Pretty much, yeah. And so it's a great trail. And if you have any issues that happen, it's a short hike out.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about getting stranded there for a few days. So Barrett Lake, top one of my trails, lots of good memories, beautiful destination. It's the only place in the Sierras I've found that right at sunset for about 15 minutes, the entire granite hills around the lake there lights up bright red.
Yeah, that's
for about
really,
15
really cool.
minutes every single day. So it's just a gorgeous location. It's good fishing if you get out to the middle of the lake.
It's really shallow.
It's a very shallow lake up until you get out to the middle, and then it just kind of drops out.
I paddleboarded on that lake.
Yeah.
And I'm like paddleboarding all over, and I'm like, I can still see the bottom. It's like the weeds are still growing right here.
Yeah. So if you can get out to the middle of the lake, it's pretty decent fishing, and it's just a really cool thing. But you have to get there early because there's very limited campsites.
Yeah.
So make sure you get there early to grab a campsite, and
if you can get a campsite, they're really nice.
If you can, it's primo camping up there. So Barrett Lake is my top choice.
Nice
for my favorite trail so far that I've done.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have a top pick, number one?
I don't know. There are so many good trails.
Yeah?
I love them. I mean, just getting out and getting away and going and exploring is definitely like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
If I were to have to choose like a number one favorite, I don't know if I could. But I know that Fordyce is definitely up there.
Okay. Yeah.
Fordyce by far is... Like, I love it because it's just difficult. It's hard. It's long. And you don't like Fordyce?
No.
Oh, really?
I mean, I do, but if I had to pick my least favorite trail, it would be Fordyce.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, no. I like Fordyce.
You said that because I was shaking my head at the camera. Yeah. My camera over here.
No. But I like it because I think it's harder than the Rubicon.
Oh, 100% it is.
You know, it's more challenging locations, and there's a river crossing, which I always find fun. And, you know, I do like, though we were talking about it a little earlier about committee and possibly being closed, I do like the fact that you could start at Eagle Lakes one day, drive up through Winch Hill 1, go out through committee, and that's a day. And that's a good long day.
It's a good 6 to 8 hours of hard beating you up wheeling.
Seriously. And then if you choose to continue on, you can go up the other 4 winch hills that are on that trail.
3 winch hills. You get to 1 and 2 before committee.
Yeah, you're right. So winch hill 3, 4, and 5 are, you know, on the next day. And winch hill 3, I made it up once without winching. Never, and I've never been able to do it again. And it's only getting harder and harder lately.
Yep.
And I think it was probably in like 2006 when I made it up.
Oh, so you got up it before all the buggies started running it and tearing it all up. Okay. Yeah, wow.
And and there's fun, good camping areas on there. It's fun to camp by
camp spots on Fordyce.
Yeah, you can camp by the rivers, which are great. You can go swimming in them, though they're usually cold because they're pumped out of the bottom of Fordyce Lake.
Yep.
And then Meadow Lake's gorgeous, and it's flat out there. There's plenty of spots. You can get your, your rigs out there, your campers out there,
your toy haulers.
And that it could be a good staging area to start with. So I've always liked Fordyce and the difficulty.
I really like the selectability of Fordyce. Like you said, you can run from Eagle Lakes to Committee in one day up until the end of August here.
Yeah.
Or you can run, go in Committee and go out Eagle Lakes. Or you can go in Committee, go up 3, 4, 5, camp at Meadow Lake. Or you can go in Meadow Lake and go down the whole trail, go in Meadow Lake, come out Committee.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways to run the trail. And I love that aspect of it. Especially because there's, like you said, there's gorgeous campsites.
Yeah.
On the Fordyce Creek Trail. My only issue with Fordyce is that it just beats me up.
Yeah.
And maybe, once I do a 4-link and coilovers, I'll like the trail a lot more. But, 6 to 8 hours in a day of just... So to put this in perspective, if you guys have never been on Fordyce, but maybe you've been on the Rubicon, because I know that the Rubicon is a very popular trail. People know about the difficulty of the Rubicon. In my opinion, the regular trail of Fordyce is like the obstacles on Rubicon.
Okay.
And then the obstacles on Fordyce, there's a reason why they're only named Winch Hill 1, Winch Hill 2, Winch Hill 3, 4, and 5. Essentially, in my opinion, the obstacles on Fordyce are more difficult than Old Sluice on the Rubicon. With the exception of maybe 2 and 5.
Yeah.
But I think winch hills 1, 3, and I don't know about 4. 4 would be kind of comparable. But in my opinion, 1 and 3.
You can do a hard lineup 4.
You can do a hard lineup 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1, 3, and the hard lineup 4 are, in my opinion, just as difficult as Old Sluice.
Yeah.
On the Rubicon. So
yeah, Old Sluice is longer than those are, though.
Oh, 100%. It's a long obstacle.
Yeah, Old Sluice is on the Rubicon. Where I've always said that on the Rubicon, it is almost continuously there's always obstacles, whether it's a rock or something. There's not, besides Eagle Lakes, not on Eagle Fordyce. Lakes, that besides where's the bridge on Rubicon?
Oh, at Ellis Creek?
Ellis Creek, thank you. Besides Ellis Creek, which is almost the only spot on the Rubicon that you can get a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
Almost the rest of the trail is somewhat of like rocky, difficult stuff to kind of go across.
That's true.
Where Fordyce has a lot of stretches where it's not very difficult, and then you get to this section where you're like, how the heck am I going to get through that?
Yeah. That's true.
Right? So the Rubicon to me is more continuous off-roading, crawling.
Okay.
Thank you. Maybe that's a better way to put it. And the Fordyce is like crawling and then cruising and then kind of crawling and then cruising. But when you get to the crawling section, it's really hard.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, there's definitely like parts where it gets down a little closer to the creek, where you can get some speed and get up into third or fourth gear.
Yeah. So
that's a good choice.
I think, it's definitely a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to pick Moab.
Well, I got Moab. Moab's in my brain. It's coming up a little later, but I'm not classifying Moab as
a trail.
A trail.
Quote, unquote? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go more. I'm going to dedicate a trail of Moab for a trail.
Okay. Okay, cool. So my top is Barrett Lake. Your top is Fordyce.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So my second favorite trail... Oh, man, I would have to say I think my second favorite trail right now is one a little bit further away from us.
Okay.
So I'm going to go down to Shaver Lake area, down near Fresno.
Yep.
And I think my second favorite trail to do is probably Mirror Lake.
Okay. I've never done that one.
So Mirror Lake is the trail in and of itself. Once you get off of the Strawberry Lake Trail and you kind of split off to go off to Mirror Lake.
Yeah.
There's a really cool hill at the top of the Mirror Lake Trail that's very intimidating to look at.
Okay.
And you do need lockers front and rear and a low gearing of some sort, either a 4-to-1 transfer case or a Ruby crawler or a Terra crawler or whatever those are for the Sport Wrangler Sport dual transfer cases kind of thing, or an Atlas, something like that. Some kind of dual low range to get up and down.
Right.
So that one, it's a really fun hill there. You get out there because that hill is very difficult. You don't get a lot of traffic out at Mirror Lake at the destination.
Okay.
So again, you might be able to see a pattern here of I like the destinations and being able to get away where other people are not a lot.
Right.
But that's a really fun trail itself. You get to follow Strawberry Lake Trail about halfway to Strawberry Lake, and then you split off to go to Mirror. Mm-hmm. And Strawberry Lake Trail is not really difficult by any means. I was able to do it in my old Tacoma with no problems.
Okay.
Being open on 35s with 138-inch wheelbase. But it is very narrow. It's a very narrow, tight, winding trail. And there's a ton of bowling ball-sized rocks everywhere. So you can't go fast. You just kind of have to relax and take your time and weave through this really gorgeous creek trail.
Mm-hmm.
And so leading up to getting through the Strawberry Lake Trail and then getting to Mirror where the difficult stuff is at. It's just kind of a nice little combo. You get a little bit of both with a great destination at the end, a great camping area, fishing area, hiking area at the end. So I would have to put Mirror Lake as my number 2 favorite right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of trails down in that area that I need to explore.
It's amazing.
And I think one of them's going to come up, I think, when we're talking about trails that we want to do.
I think so. I think there's a big one there.
There's a really big one down there. Hint, hint. Yep. Everybody knows what it is now.
Yep.
So I would say probably
Coyote Lake. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. One of my favorite trails, maybe second favorite trail that I've done is possibly the top of the world in Moab.
Okay, so that's your Moab trail you're throwing in? Okay.
Yeah, and it's not a really difficult trail.
Okay.
But like what you were saying, the destination of it is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a day trip trail. It's like half an hour out of Moab.
Okay.
So you've got to drive a ways. And then you start driving on a dirt road for a while for like maybe 5 or 6 miles. And then you start heading up the trail there. And then that one had there was a ton of ledges to climb.
Nice.
And so on let's just say the left side, you could drive up without even worrying about anything. But then on the right side, it was a 4-foot ledge. And then so you could choose anywhere on that ledge that you wanted to climb.
Okay.
And so you could make the trail as difficult as you wanted, or you could have it be as easy as you wanted. Halfway up the trail, it splits. So it's like a lollipop, right? It goes up and then you can go right or left, and then you could choose to go back down kind of the other way. It kind of loops around.
Okay.
We went right. And then we got up
I've never heard of a trail being described as a lollipop before.
But it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when we came down, we continued going counterclockwise around the tip of the lollipop.
Okay.
And when we came down,
you were just on the tip?
Yeah, just the tip. And when we came down, it was much more difficult on the left side.
Okay.
And so if you want to have more of a challenge, go clockwise around the tip.
Okay.
But the top, at the top,
send all your hate feedback to Jimmy at SnailTrail4x4.com.
The lookout at top of the world is unbelievable.
Is that the one where you can get out on the ledge?
Yes.
Out there? Okay.
That's the one where you drive out on the ledge, and there's lots of people with their pictures of their trucks out there hanging on their rigs, kind of leaning off of it over the edge. And the rock, protrudes out over, your whole vehicle is 1,200 feet up? 1,000 feet up, and your whole vehicle's over the cliff on this rock.
Wow.
And it's very weird to tell yourself, well, I'm going to drive out here and I might die.
What would be fun is we need to put a winch on Bobcat, or we can take the 4Runner since it actually has a winch, and take a harness and wear the harness and get on the winch line and winch yourself down over the ledge and just hang there and have lunch.
And get your photo.
And get your photo taken and have some drinks or something.
There was a guy that
record a podcast out there. Do it on the Charlotte and use the inverter.
Yeah, there was a video or a picture of some guy that had a rope climbing harness and was rope harnessed to his bumper and just leaning back away from the bumper over the edge.
I wouldn't even do that. I would just rappel down and hang down there. Yeah,
I would be down for that as long as we could hit the button to winch us back up so I don't have to climb.
Keep control of the winch controls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, looking out on the view and, just getting some epic shots. It was a really fun trail. It was a really fun day.
Nice.
It's also where I lost my drone.
Oh, that's right. Where your drone committed suicide?
Yeah. I didn't lose it. I still have it. It just decided to flip over on landing and
you made it sound like you lost it over the cliff.
Yeah, no. I flew it over the cliff, and when I turned around, it told me I was low on batteries. I'm like, how are you low on batteries? I just charged you last night.
Yeah.
And then as it flew back, it went to land, and it didn't land in the same spot where it took off. And it was landing on a 45-degree rock.
Okay.
And when it started to tip, it turned back on, and then it just zoomed, flipped over, did a whole 180 and drove its propellers into the ground.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
And you're just sitting there oh,
yeah.
No.
And I was like, luckily it was a fairly cheap drone. But
I wonder why now.
Yeah, for real, huh? Batteries don't work for very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, that trail is not on the difficult scale. It wasn't very high, but the reward at the when you get up to the top is well worth it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How long did you spend up at the top of the trail there?
Probably an hour, if not 2, because we did lunch up there, and then we took a bunch of photos and a lot of videoing, and there was 5 rigs with us at the time, and we pulled all the rigs off and then drove one up at a time and took photos and stuff. So there was, 2 other YouTubers with me, so we weren't
lots of stopping.
It wasn't a lot. We were doing a lot of filming up there when we got up there. But if you kick back and sat on the ledge and ate lunch, an hour is easy.
Yeah.
So
nice. That's cool. Good choice. Top of the world.
Yeah.
All right. So my third favorite trail,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to put on as the Rubicon.
Okay.
And
that's mine too, by the way.
Is it for number 3?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So my reason for liking the Rubicon is a couple of reasons. A, it's so close.
Yeah.
I can go up and do it in a day, so I can make it a day trip if I want. So we're spoiled like that. Woohoo!
Yes.
So I can make it a day trip. I can make it an overnight trip. I can make it a 2-night trip, 3-night trip, 4-night trip, whatever you want to. There's tons of camping along the trail. There's lots of ways to split up the trail. There's lots of ways to do the trail with the Wentworth Springs entrance. There's lots of bypasses. So
I've never done that entrance.
The Wentworth Springs?
I've never gone that route.
That's a fun route. There's a couple of little ledges in there that'll get you going.
Yeah.
So
every time I've ever gone in, well, no, I'll take that back. Almost every time but once I've gone in has been at Loon Lake. The other time I went in, I started at in Tahoe area and came down.
Yeah. I still have not gone that way.
Yeah.
I need to go that way because I imagine the obstacles are different when you're coming down from Tahoe.
Yes, they are.
But yeah, so Rubicon Trail, again, because of how many different ways you can do it, you can run the trail 20 to 30 times and never do it the same way.
Yeah.
There's also lots of camping. There's lots of things to do on the trail, lots of hiking to do. The new Rubicon Trail Foundation property is open right now.
Yep.
So you can go in there. It's a first come, first serve basis. There's no reserving campsites there, but they do have designated campsites and it's first come, first serve. So you show up, pick a campsite, tell the camp host that's where you're at. They say, cool, thank you. I don't know if there's a cost.
I don't think so.
I didn't hear that there was a cost for camping there. But there's lots of camping there. There's camping at Buck Island, and there's a couple campsites at the bottom of Walker Hill. There's really nice camping as Jimmy destroys our area here. There's really nice camping at Rubicon Springs, and that is charged to do that. So bring cash with you. I think it's $12.50.
Right.
Night now.
And all the firewood you can burn.
But all the firewood you can burn, that's included with your stay there. But that's a gorgeous place to stay. You don't need to stay actually in the springs. You can stay out on the slabs. You can stay over in Dirty Dozen. There's a lot of different camp areas within quote-unquote Rubicon Springs.
Right.
And so it depends on what kind of experience you're looking for. If you're looking for more of a rowdy experience, stay at Buck Island, party scene. If you're looking for more of a quiet, relaxing experience, maybe with your family, or you just don't like crowds, go to Rubicon Springs. Usually the price to entry and staying there is kind of like a screening process. It keeps the party scene out of there usually. But I think the main reason out of all of that, the off-roading's good, camping's good, activities are good. My main reason for the Rubicon Trail is the scenery.
It's gorgeous out there.
It is the most beautiful trail that in my opinion, we have in all of California. And that's just because that's saying a lot because we have a lot of awesome stuff in California. It's iconic. You have these breathtaking views. Yeah. The shitter with the best view in the world is out there on the trail,
Which one's that?
That's the one up by Steve's Rock, or what was that?
Arnold's Rock.
Arnold's Rock. It's that one just past Arnold's Rock.
Okay. That is a good view.
It is.
I haven't seen it from the shitter, but that just even standing right there and looking down that into that little valley and Buck Island back in that corner is gorgeous.
My favorite lunch spot is right there.
Oh yeah.
Just stopping right up there and just taking in the views there. So you have the granite bowl, everything. It's just a breathtaking trail. You get up to Observation Point.
Yeah.
At the end of the trail, and you just kind of sit back and take in everything. It's really cool. So the scenery is why I like the Rubicon so much. Is the number one reason why I like the Rubicon. So
yeah, I like the Rubicon a lot because it has. I mean, it's a difficult trail, right? You can't, like if you have 35s and you're open, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a really hard time. Right. So there is an entry level to this. So it keeps a lot of, just people thinking that they can wheel off of the trail, but what I like about it is that from there, it has a degree of difficulty for everybody.
Absolutely.
And you can choose which way you want to go. Like that person that's open on 35s is probably going around Little Sluice. Right. And he's doing the bypass or she's doing the bypass. And, the people that are locked up, and 37s are probably going through Little Sluice, you know, and you can choose to go through Little Sluice a little ways and then turn off, you know, and you know, so that there is this variety of difficulty and how difficult you want to make it, you know, on that trail. Yeah. Plus there's camping everywhere and anywhere on that trail, which is really cool because, you know, if you have a problem, you're probably at a campsite. And you can just kind of pull your rig off to the side, unless you're at Arnold's Rock, because there's not really one.
There's nowhere to...
Well, right below that there is.
Yeah, true.
And Arnold's Rock, I think, is now becoming one of the most difficult spots on that trail by how many people break right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really enjoy the scenery there, like you were saying. Have you ever had a run-in with bears?
Not yet.
Oh.
Not there.
Yeah, I've had a run-in with bears at Buck Island before there. And then this last trip, I went up there and I was talking to Merlin, and he was saying, yeah, every once in a while we get bears at Spider Lake. We didn't see any, but I mean... He's been there way more than I have. Yeah. And so, you know, it's just, there are bears out there, which, you know, are, you know, just make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself, putting things in the right position, packing things away, hanging food if you need to, you know, don't leave, you know, a mess out at night, and, you know, just be tidy to the trail so we can continue to use it.
What's big this year is rattlesnakes.
Yes.
Rattlesnakes are a huge problem this year on the trail. Yeah, they are. We've had 6-7 reports of rattlesnakes before the end of June, I think, which is crazy. And one reason that I think is going on that is because the RTF property there, since they have so much traffic in there and it's building up the property and have campsites and everything, I think a lot of them are pushing them out and they're going over, you know, it's just right down the hill there, down into Rubicon Springs and Buck Island. So I think that at least the rattlesnake issue at Buck Island and Rubicon Springs is coming.
You're blaming it on...
Yeah, come on, RTF. What are you guys doing? No, I'm just kidding. I think it's awesome what they're doing out there. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that they're doing. I just think that's one of the reasons. So you guys just have to be aware as we use trails and use the outdoors and environment that there's other animals out there that use it too. And if we push them out of one area, they're going to come to another area. So they don't just go away.
Well, since the R3s were the same, I think I'll claim that, or I'll say that I really enjoyed Metal Masher over in Moab as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever heard the trail described. I've never watched a video of it.
Well, I have a video on my channel. Thanks.
Well, I thought you had the fins and things and Top of the World.
I did Fins and Things, Top of the World, Metal Masher. And we did Gemini Bridges, but I don't think I did a video of that. And then we...
Well, it's funny because I saw
We did.
I saw a bunch of content.
Or Hell's Gate. Or Hell's Revenge.
I saw that one. And I saw content from Gemini Bridges. So maybe I didn't see a video then, or maybe I saw it on Instagram. I don't know.
Maybe. But Metal Masher it was not a very difficult trail, once again. I didn't have a lot of difficult areas in Moab with Bobcat.
Okay.
But there was a rock section in there that I wasn't able to do.
In Metal Masher?
On Metal Masher. Okay. Yeah, and that was I was able to do every other obstacle everywhere I went. Except for on Metal Masher, there's these rocks, like rock climbing area that I couldn't make it up.
Okay.
And there was an LJ stretched on 40s. Stickies with like a big old motor, and it didn't make it up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think it was driven by a lady, D, and I think she would have made it up if I had more of an understanding of where the lines are and how to work that obstacle. And so if she had somebody there that knew what she was doing or knew how to direct her, she probably would have been able to do it. But it was just, I was on 3 wheels, like I was like totally off camber. Like it just, Bobcat wasn't made for that. And I think I needed slightly larger tires. And I would love to try it now with the 63s in the rear, to see if I get a little bit better traction and travel. But otherwise, there was just a few ledges, and that one brought you way up to another great lookout spot where you actually kind of get to look over the road that takes you into Moab, and so that was really neat. And if you looked almost straight down, you could see the road that you drove in on to get there. So that was cool. And you drove past the Birdie Rock, which is this big old, is it Gertie rock? I can't remember what it is now.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
It's this big old rock structure that has like a head of a bird at the top. And it's good luck to, when you drive past it, you put a tire up on the bottom of it and then you drive on. So, you hit some iconic areas out there, but there also, that has the waterfall on it and on the backside. Okay. And we didn't go to that. I did the like mini waterfall at the front where a lot of people are like, this is it. And it's not it.
No, it's not it.
And that's the one where I'm like full throttle, like sliding up this side of a hill. And I'm somewhat glad I didn't even go out there because I probably would have tried it. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm here. When am I coming back? I've got to try this. And I don't know if it would have been good for Bobcat or not. But the trail it was really nice. It was good to get some, red dirt on Bobcat while I was out there.
A lot of it's still there.
Yeah, it is.
We've been working on Bobcat where I was like, oh, look, you still got some Moab here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a fun trail. And that was a lot of what Moab is there are a lot of day trails. Okay. So then you make it back to Moab City and you kind of
have a base camp area kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of people will take their RVs or campers and things and be out, camp out in Moab City or get a hotel there in Moab City and then they just do a bunch of day trips and end up back at their base camp.
Wherever they're at.
Nice. There was camping out there, but I don't think a lot of people do it. So, so that was a good one.
So Metal Masher is your follow-up, what would it be, the close third?
Yeah. Yep, that would be a good way to put it.
Nice. Well, cool. What about trails that you don't like?
I don't really the Highway 80?
Highway 80?
Does that count?
I guess so, yeah.
I
had a fun time on Highway 80 yesterday.
Bay Area?
The whole Bay Area. The Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Yeah. I hate that trail. Jeez.
I don't really, like I said at the start, if I can just get out and go, have some fun somewhere, then that's what I enjoy, so you don't even have any trails that like you do once a year and you're like, I'm good for the year. I don't need to do that again kind of thing. You're still like, I enjoyed it this time, but I don't feel like I need to keep doing it this year. Or like, are there any trails if somebody says, hey, let's go do Niagara Rim tomorrow? You're like, I'd rather go do this one, that kind of thing. Or I don't know. Not really.
Okay.
I would probably say, well, when we go do that, like, can we hit this section too?
Okay.
Or something. But, I haven't done Niagara Rim. That's on my bucket list. I did a Jeep trail outside of Chico a while ago.
Did you turn it into a Toyota trail?
When I was on it, I'd call it a Toyota trail, and I didn't get it. I was going with my buddy Chucky, and he has a brand new 5th Gen 4Runner. Okay. And he was able to make the trail like we were doing it, but it was so overgrown with manzanita that we started pinstriping his vehicle, and we're like, nah, let's not do this. Yep. And and so I wouldn't even mind going up and doing that again just to figure out where the trail ended. Mm-hmm. I did a trail one time that went from what's the downhill capital of California? Mountain biking. Dang it, I totally blanked.
I have no idea.
It's off of Highway 49, and you go from like there up to the Gold Lakes area. Okay. And it was all just riverbed rock, like the whole trail.
Oh yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's the Gold Lakes trail there, either Gold Lake or Snake Lake. There's a really nice trail up there that you kind of go down. It's not too bad, just a bunch of river rock, like you said. Then you get to the bottom, and there's a couple of really gnarly obstacles.
No, there was no obstacles on the one we did. Right. And I was doing it in Bobcat before it was even locked, and it was on 33s, And like that trail was just bumpy and uncomfortable. Yeah. But it would be fun to kind of go and see it again one day. I'm not opposed to not doing it, if somebody was like, hey, we're going to go up in this area, I would try to find another trail to do. But, I just want to get out and get away. Okay. I like it when there's no cell reception.
Yeah, me too. Too much of my income is based on having cell connection. So I'm like, I need to get away every once in a while.
Yeah. How about you?
I don't really have any trails that I dislike. Yeah. I definitely have trails that I'm like, I'm good doing that one once a year. Fordyce is one of them. Okay. I don't really like the trail that goes into Wentworth Springs Campground.
Okay. I haven't done that.
So that little section of road, it's a section 2 mile, 3 mile stretch of Forest Service road. And it is just little rocks everywhere.
Sure.
So I have to air down to like 4 psi.
Yeah.
And open up my shocks. I have adjustable shocks and bring them down to the lowest setting.
Right.
To make the ride as soft as possible to get through there. I've gone through there before without airing down and without adjusting my shocks before. And by the end of it, I was like, get me out of this vehicle. This is stupid. What am I doing here? What am I doing with my life?
Now that you bring that up, I do have a section.
Okay.
Or I do have a part of a trail, I guess. So from the top of Cadillac at Observation Point, driving out of the Rubicon, those fire roads, I can see that. Whenever I go out to the Rubicon, I'll go do Cadillac, and then I'll even drive the whole rest of the trail back because that's fun. rather than do the whatever roads. 4 or 5 miles where you can't even go fast because you start to pick up speed, and then there's a basketball-sized rock in the middle of something. Yeah, and you've got to either drive over it or figure out a way around it real quick, and then you start speed up another 100 or 200 yards, and there's another one. Yeah, and it's just a pain and slow and tedious process to get from there, and it's not a difficult you're a 2-wheel drive. Just cruising out, but you just can't go fast. And actually, you shouldn't go fast on that section, but it's just painful. Yeah. So there's mine.
It's a long journey to get from the top of Cadillac Hill to Tahoma to Tahoe. It's like you said, 45 miles, but you have to go so slow, and there's no reward for going slow. Yeah, there's no obstacles.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that as a section that I would get up to, and I'm like, okay, let's get through this. Yeah, kind of thing. Okay, that's a good one. My other one was, and I have mixed emotions about this trail. It's the Bear Valley Loop outside of Truckee. So Bear Valley OHV up outside of Truckee. And that's just because the club that maintains it for side-by-sides instead of maintaining it for 4x4s.
Got it.
And Jeeps and, 4-door JKs and 4Runners or pickups or whatever it is. They maintain it for side-by-side. So all the Manzanita is just overgrowing the trail. And we kind of took it upon ourselves to clean the trail for Sierra Trek coming up here. Yeah. Because it's supposed to be the easy trail. It's the outer limits trail for Sierra Trek. But in the past, people have done that part of the outer limits trail and said that they were never coming back to Sierra Trek because of it, because it pinstriped their vehicles.
Right.
Yeah. You're paying $250 to be at Sierra Trek to go on guided tours just to screw up all the paint on your brand new vehicle you just spent $60,000 on. So we had to go up and clean the trail, and it's a great trail. You get some gorgeous views on it. There's different ways to do it, but now that I spent 12 hours chainsawing on that trail because the other club doesn't want to maintain it for 4x4s, and I have a bittersweet feelings about that trail.
Sure, that's understandable.
But so otherwise good.
What about trails that you want to do that you haven't done?
Trails that I want to do that I haven't done. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
My top pick, which I'm pretty sure is going to end up being your top pick.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick another trail that is in that area that is not going to be it's going to be my top close second.
Alternative. Yeah.
My alternative is Swamp Lake.
Okay.
So Swamp Lake down in the Shaver Lake area, that's up there for me. I really want to do Swamp Lake. I've done it, back when I lived down in that area, so I don't remember it at all. But it's a pretty difficult trail that you can do, and it's a great camping trail, and it's got, everything you could want in an off-roading trail. I don't remember it at all. And I keep hearing people talk about how awesome of a trail it is. So I want to get out and do Swamp Lake.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my 1.5 top. My 1.2.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
What's your top trail, Jimmy?
I want to go to Sand Hollow.
Oh, that's your top one?
I really want to go out there. I mean, I hear that, it's just, they were rating trails out there. I think it was, I think they were rating it 1 through 5. Okay. With 5 being Rubicon difficulty.
Okay.
And then they started developing trails that were harder than that.
Okay.
Nice. And now they had a scale that was 1 through 10.
Okay.
right? And so things that are more difficult than the Rubicon. And then they made a trail that was harder than their 10. And so it's what's really neat about that area is it's still evolving. It's still getting really like interesting and getting more difficult trails and things like that. Like I don't think Bobcat could do anything more than a 5 or 6 or maybe 7 out that way, you know?
Okay.
And they have ones that are probably, I don't know how high, above 10, 13, you know? And so it's like Bobcat can only do half of the difficulty levels out there, which is pretty crazy to think of.
That's pretty nuts.
But I think the one you wanted me to say was Doozy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Doozy's definitely on the list of places to go and try and do. I do really want to get down there. I don't know much about it, but I do know that it's super long.
It's a very long trail. It's 32 miles, 32 miles, something like that. So I've heard of people doing it in 2 days, but it's a long 2 days.
My friends that do it in a week.
Yeah.
They leave Monday from up here in Sacramento. They drive down there, and then they start wheeling in.
Yeah.
They camp, and then the next day I think they wheel farther, and then they get to a lake.
Okay.
And then they spend like one or another whole day at the lake just relaxing. Okay. And then I think the next day they either wheel 2 more days or they're far enough through that they wheel 1 more day and drive home or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, that's like a multi-night camping trip, off-roading event.
Most people, from what I've heard, do it in 3 nights, 4 days.
Yeah.
So, and it's another one. It's just long, windy. It's a narrow trail, so you can't do it fast with any speed at all. But it has gorgeous views, and it's high up there. It's 10,000 feet.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Okay.
I think it breaks the 10,000 foot mark in a couple places. So high altitude. So carburetors don't like to run very well up there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a beautiful, gorgeous multi-day trail. So that's the one. And I don't think it's going to open this year.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think it will.
Well, Barrett, your favorite, might not open this year.
And that's really annoying because we spent multi-millions of dollars renovating Barrett Lake Trail to make sure that it doesn't have water issues.
Right.
And
there's still probably snow on it.
And there's probably snow in a couple places, but what's interesting, and one of the guys on social media has been pointing out, is that we're going to go into fire restrictions here shortly, very shortly, and Barrett Lake is still going to be closed due to water issues.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right? So it's just kind of like, where did all our money go to then to do all the renovations on Barrett Lake?
I wonder if that meadow area is still full of water.
I don't know. I mean, the road that they put through the meadow area is raised.
Yeah.
So you can't get down into the meadow, and all the water goes through all the rock and little cinder blocks they have that they built the road out of.
Yeah.
So as long as you stay on the road, on the trail, you're not going to impact the meadow at all anymore. Right. The bridge was built there, so you're not impacting any of the water crossing.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what the issue is, why it needs to stay closed through fire restrictions.
Got it. Yeah.
So, anyways, but that's the Barrett Lake debate. But yeah, Doozy. I think Sand Hollow would be cool. I've just never looked into Sand Hollow before. I think I want to get out to Moab first before I get to Sand Hollow.
It's probably a good stepping stone.
Yeah. But one place I want to get to, I've been to, but I didn't get to do any wheeling at while I was there, which I was really, really disappointed in, was Hammers.
Oh, yeah. Hammers would be a blast,
King of the Hammers area. So I really want to get the Forerunner down and do Chocolate Thunder and a bunch of the canyons and everything. Just kind of go through the area in the Forerunner. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to try my best to get down there next year in 2020 for Hammers, take my Forerunner down, and have some fun with the Forerunner down there, and hopefully set up some radios down there too. I think that'd be
rad.
So
no, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else for you? Any other places you really want to get to in the country?
Well, I actually might be going to Sand Hollow this year. In a few months, there's a Trail Hero event out at Sand Hollow, and I'm really thinking about going down there to go for it.
Nice.
So we'll see if how things align. I think it's at the end of September.
Okay.
So
what about the Trans-America Trail? Is that a sour topic?
I really, really, really wanted to try to do the Trans-America Trail.
Yeah.
this September.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to some people that actually just finished it.
Oh, yeah.
And they said that they were trying to do 200 miles a day.
Jeez.
And most days that took them 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm not looking to beat myself up.
Yeah.
Or Charlotte.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'd want to do it more of a relaxing, easy pace.
Just take 30 days to do it then.
Yeah. And that would be a whole month. Yeah. And I don't think I could do it. And I think if I did it late September and October, I would be in snow season.
Yeah. Yeah. You
and
would.
So I think if everything keeps going the way that it does, I hopefully can do it next year.
Well, we have a guest coming on the show here soon that did the first recorded 4x4 trip through the Trans-America Trail.
Yeah.
So we may have to pick his brain.
I'm going to be, yeah.
Jimmy's going to turn into
notes.
a giddy schoolgirl while we're talking to him.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that's cool. That's a lot of the trails that we like. Some of the ones that, maybe sections of trails that we're like, we don't really care for too much. And then some of the trails we really want to get to.
Yeah.
So
what I want to know is, listeners out there, is what trails are in your area that you like to do?
I know Colorado has some awesome freaking trails out there.
Because I was talking to you a while ago about, what would be a lot of fun is to hit every state and go wheeling once 1 week.
Yeah.
Take like a whole year off of everything.
50 weeks.
50 weeks, 50 states, wheel in every state one at least once in a week.
That would be an undertaking. That'd be crazy.
And so I need to know what wheeling is out there in other states.
Yeah, we need some recommendations for Jimmy.
Yeah.
To go become you're going to do not a van life thing. You're going to do a Tacoma life.
Well, I need a combo of overlanding and rock crawling.
Yeah, buy a Unimog.
Over-rocking. I could do a Unimog with like a little house thing on the back.
Build a tiny house into a Unimog and tow a Bobcat behind it.
Why? Just wheel the Unimog.
Nice. That'd be fun. That'd be cool. I've seen some tiny houses built on the back of Unimogs. They're very impressive inside.
I've seen a German guy bring his Unimog over from Germany, and it's one of the these massive ones that are built out, like they're made into motorhomes out there. Yeah. And I'm like, you must be like uber rich. How the heck did you buy that and then ship it to America to drive around for like a year?
So every 2 years, I do a family trip to Colorado and stay in Estes Park out there. And every time I've gone, I've tried to rent a Jeep while I was out there. There's Jeep rentals you can do to go off-roading in. Okay. And every time I get out there, they're all fully booked. Okay. So I need to learn how to reserve things ahead of time. But anyways, so last time I was out there, I saw a Truggy that was for sale. And I was like, if this thing is under $5,000, I might just buy it, go do a bunch of trips, and drive it back to California and sell it in California.
That'd be awesome.
But I know Colorado has some really awesome trails. So I think per state, in terms of off-roading clubs, which is kind of how I gauge the off-roading activity per state. Okay. Colorado is the number 2 state for the number of off-roading clubs. So California, obviously number 1, and then Colorado number 2, and then it dropped way off outside of that. So I think Colorado would be, in terms of just an area to go to and explore. I really want to go to Colorado and do that. Yeah. So
well, and I think that Utah obviously has Moab and Sand Hollow, and and then I think even like
my issue with Utah is I don't like deserts. Right. I don't like sand. I don't know. That's I like mountains. I like being up super high and in evergreens and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say that even any like all around the Grand Canyon would probably be some rad.
That
wheeling.
Would be cool. Around the Grand. That's a trip I just want to do as a week-long trip.
I've gone on a week-long trip. I drove all the way around the Grand Canyon.
That would be awesome.
Hit the South Rim, hit the North Rim, hit the Four Corners, Mesa Verde, Zion, Bryce, Arches, and then Vegas, and then back.
Just through Vegas in there at the end, kind of.
Well, I was on the way back. I mean, we were cruising back down that 15 or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to be driving through. Might as well.
Might as well stop in Vegas for a night. Yeah. But what was funny is this was when I was probably 21, and my girlfriend at the time was 20.
Okay.
And so, like, we couldn't even really go gambling or go out in Vegas. So, but yeah, that was a good trip.
That's our trails. We want to hear from you guys, hear about your guys' favorite trails. So send them in. You can contact us through Instagram at SnailTrail4x4 or 4x4 Toyota Tyler. You can get us on email at Jimmy@SnailTrail4x4.com or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com. If you have any radio questions, ham radio stuff, I've been getting a lot of those recently. I'm getting a lot of requests for those up and use frequencies as well.
Oh, good.
That I told people that I'd give out for free for the Baofeng radios. So that's awesome. If you guys need those, keep reaching out to me for those because I really want to make sure that if you have a Baofeng radio, you're not using it to interrupt businesses and people's income. So keep those coming in. Any radio questions? If you want to hear a little bit more finer detail about the repeaters we're setting up at Sierra Trek, or maybe, we'll talk about my ideas for a repeater trailer later. And then anything like that, send them on over to me, Tyler at SnailTrail4x4, Tyler at myoffroadradio.com. Definitely go by the YouTube channel. Check out that VONT LED Lantern kit. Actually, I'll show you guys it real quick. Ad-lib. Cover. Go.
Ready. Yeah, check it out. It's the VONT LED lantern. It doesn't light up because that one doesn't have batteries in it, but you can see it anyway. But it's a pretty cool lantern. You just flip out, pull up the top, and it turns itself on automatically when there's batteries in it. And if you shut it, it automatically shuts off. So it's a really cool lantern on that aspect because it's hard to it's difficult to run it out of batteries. Also because it has 30 LEDs, it gets quite bright. I think it gets up to 1,000 lumens. And then if you want to control how bright it gets, you can raise or lower the top cap as much as you want. And like I said earlier, since it is LEDs, that it does burn through the batteries really slow, so you can leave it on for a long time. Also, I like the fact that it comes together pretty easily for a little handle and or easy way to hang it in locations. You can also quite easily undo the clips for the handles, so you can put it over a rope or something.
How much are those, by the way? Because I love my little lanterns. I might end up getting a few more of these for Christmas presents for people and stuff.
I'll have a link down in the video for sure. Cool. I'm trying to remember, but I think it's $17 for 2 of them.
Wow. That's a really good price. So check those out for sure. VONT, and check out the giveaway over at the YouTube channel. So youtube.com/SnailTrail4x4. And then make sure that you get signed up for the giveaway for August for the Patreon account. And that we're doing the Exploration Ready First Aid Kit. So I think that about does it. Any last words for all of our peeps, all of our friends out there on the other side of our YouTube and our podcast listening?
Let's go exploring.
With that, my friends, keep crawling.